Alright, now these are the factors which determine why consumers of some goods are more responsive to a price change, while consumers of other goods are less responsive to a price change. Factor number 4, number of substitutes, has 3 subcategories. We are going to discuss them as well, right? Factor number 1, habits, dependence, and addiction. I have already discussed this in the previous lecture. So right now I'm just writing the conclusion, right? I'm just writing the conclusion. If you are habituated to consuming a good like staple food, and if you are heavily dependent on a good like cigarettes, sleeping pills, caffeine containing food like tea and coffee, or god forbid if anyone is addicted, or if anyone is addicted, then such goods have an inelastic demand. Even if you increase the price, quantity demanded is not going to decrease significantly. Factor number 2 is necessities versus luxuries. How do you define a necessity? Necessity is something without which we cannot survive, right? Another way to define necessity is it is something without which we can survive, but survival can be fairly difficult, right? So in the context of this definition, what are some necessities? Food is a necessity, right? Shelter is a necessity. We need a roof at the top. Nobody wants to live under the open sky. Electricity, which we use to run tube lights, bulbs, fans, it is a necessity, right? So in case of necessity, let's take the example of electricity. If prices of electricity increase, quantity demanded is not going to decrease significantly. Why? Because you will continue to consume the required amount of quantity. In this case, electricity के केस में, even if prices increase, quantity demanded will not decrease significantly, right? You need electricity to operate your tube lights, bulbs, fans, right? And what is the other story? If prices decrease, quantity demanded is not going to increase significantly. You will continue consuming the same amount of electricity. ऐसा नहीं है that if electricity becomes cheaper, you will start keeping lights on for no purpose, you will start keeping television sets on for no purpose, right? So even if prices decrease, quantity demanded is not going to increase significantly, right? So necessities have an inelastic demand. What about luxuries? How do you define a luxury? Now we defined necessity as something without which we cannot survive. So on the basis of this definition, we might be tempted to say that luxury is something without which we can easily survive. Something without which we can easily survive. But this is an incomplete definition. Why? Because we can, let's say, just giving you an example, we can easily survive without watching a monkey perform on a street, right? But monkey street performance is not a luxury. So complete definition of luxury is it is something which is expensive and enjoyable, but without which we cannot survive, right? So let's say I cannot survive, without which we can easily survive, I can easily survive without high-end meals. We can easily survive without high-end meals, without KFC and McDonald's. We can easily survive without a 500 yards bungalow. We can easily survive without a Land Cruiser, right? All these are expensive, they are enjoyable, but we can easily survive without them. In case of luxuries, if prices increase, quantity demanded is going to fall significantly. Why? Because you are going to tell yourself, why spend a high price on a good which is just a luxury, right? And if prices decrease, quantity demanded is going to increase significantly. Why? Because Because it's a luxury item, prices are decreasing. Luxury is something which you want more and more of a luxury item. You want more and more enjoyment and comfort in life. Right? So what is the conclusion of this discussion? That necessities have an inelastic demand while luxuries have an elastic demand. Right? Our next determinant is percentage of income spent on a good. All right. There are some goods on which we spend a very small percentage of our income. There are other goods on which we spend a big percentage of our income, right? What are some examples of a good on which we spend a very small percentage of our income? Salt, pens, toothpick, there are many items, right? Chewing gums. And what are some examples of a good on which we spend a big percentage of our income? I'm not talking about one-time expenditures. I'm talking about expenditures which we make with regular intervals. House rent, right? And high-end meals, expensive restaurants में जो खाने खाते हैं, high-end meals, and movie tickets of expensive theaters, right? Okay. Now let's say, what will happen if I double the prices of both these goods, both these categories? What will happen? In category number 1, we might not even notice the change. For example, let's suppose that currently you purchase, every month you purchase 500 gram of salt for rupees 20, right? Now if prices double from 20 to 40, will that impact your quantity demanded? Will your budget be hit? Not at all, right? So even if prices double, even if prices double, you will continue consuming the same quantity. So quantity demand is inelastic. What about this category? Goods on which we're spending a big percentage of our income. In this category, let's take the example of house rent. Let's say currently you're paying a house rent of 20,000 and your salary is 80,000. That makes 25% of your salary, right? Now let's say house rent doubles from 20,000 to 40,000. ठीक है, इतना ज़्यादा एक साथ बढ़ता नहीं है, but just giving you an example. Let's say house rent doubles from 20,000 to 40,000. Other things are equal. Your salary is equal. Now this is how much? 50% of your income, right? How will you respond in such a situation? How will you respond? Now naturally you will immediately start looking for house in some other locality. So the quantity demanded of houses in this locality will drop. Conclusion क्या है? That goods on which we spend a very small percentage of our income have an inelastic demand. Even if prices increase, we might not even notice the change. But goods on which we spend a big percentage of our income have an elastic demand. Prices increase, we will immediately significantly reduce our quantity consumed. So goods on which we spend a small percent of our income have an inelastic demand, and goods on which we spend a big percentage of our income have an elastic demand, right? Okay, I just want to tell you one thing here, that there are certain necessities on which we spend a big percentage of our income. For example, electricity. When I discussed the second determinant, necessities versus luxuries, I told you that electricity is a necessity. Therefore, it has an inelastic demand. Even if prices increase, quantity does not decrease significantly. But as per this criteria, electricity is something on which we spend a big percentage of our income. So according to this criteria, electricity has an elastic demand according to this criteria. So if you face such a situation where according to one criteria a good is elastic, but according to some other criteria good is inelastic, you have to decide. It's your judgment. right? For example, I think that in case of electricity, the argument of necessity is more powerful than the argument of percentage of income spent, right? Because electricity is a necessity. Even if you're spending a big percentage of our income, we must spend it. We need it. We might curtail our other expenditures, but we cannot curtail our expenditure on electricity, right? Okay, then we have number of substitutes. All right, more substitutes. Let's take the example of, I'm taking the example of McDonald's, right? McDonald's Happy Meal Burger. McDonald's Happy Meal Burger, it has a lot of substitutes. Pizza Hut, KFC, Burger King. Now there are so many international food chains working in Pakistan. So in case of McDonald's, if prices increase, quantity demanded is going to decrease significantly. Why? Because consumers are going to switch towards substitute items. There's so many substitutes available. Quantity demanded of McDonald's will decrease significantly, right? And at the same time, if McDonald's decreases its prices, what will happen? Quantity demanded is going to increase significantly. Why? Because this offer is going to attract customers of all substitute goods. So McDonald's goods which have excuse me, goods which have a lot of substitutes have an elastic demand. What about goods which have no substitutes or few substitutes? Few or no substitutes. I'm taking the example of insulin here, right? Insulin does not have any proper substitute, right? And so in case of insulin, if prices increase, if prices go up, quantity demanded might not change as per your textbooks. Why? Because insulin is a lifeline for diabetic patients and therefore they must continue taking it, right? But there is another thing which I want to share. According to textbooks, let's suppose if prices of insulin increase from $100 per vial, insulin has many units of measurement. One of those is vial. If prices of insulin increase from $100 per vial to $150 per vial to $200 per vial, according to textbooks, quantity demanded will not be impacted because insulin is a life-saving drug. Textbooks ke lihaz se. But in reality, this is not what the situation is. Right? We can say that in developed countries where people are earning a lot of income, insulin has an inelastic demand. Consumers are not very much responsive to a price change because they've got the money to pay the price, right? Developing countries and countries like Pakistan, to insulin hai, in case of poor people, I should say, insulin comprises a big percentage of their income. This category, insulin falls in this category. Diabetic patients ki income ka, it comprises a big percentage of poor people, you can say, of low middle classes or middle classes. So that's the reason why insulin can have an elastic demand as well. Prices increase, quantity demanded might decrease significantly. People might not be able to afford it, right? I just want to share a very interesting statistic. It's very incredible, very unbelievable. I don't believe in it, but I read it in a very reliable newspaper. According to what I read, in Pakistan, 3% of the total diabetic patients, only 3% of the total diabetic patients consume insulin, and others, they're not able to afford it. And that's the reason they are living a very impaired life, amputated legs, vision loss, kidney failures, right? To conclude, इस discussion का conclusion ये है that goods which have a lot of substitutes have an elastic demand, and goods which have no or few substitutes have an inelastic demand. Naturally, जब substitute ही नहीं है तो you will have to continue consuming that good even if prices are increasing. Alright, next. Now this is 4.1. This point, broadly defined markets versus narrowly defined markets, it comes under point 4, number of substitutes. Right? A broadly defined market है क्या? Broadly defined market, one example of broadly defined market, food. Food is a broadly defined market. Why? Because it encompasses so many things, right? There's so many things which are included in food. Let me narrow it down further. Broadly defined क्या है? Food है. अब इसको narrow down करते हैं. It includes meat, breakfast menu items, fruits, desserts and many other things. I cannot mention all of them, of course, right? Now these categories can be narrowed down further as well. I'm picking one category, breakfast menu items. They can be narrowed down, cereals, dairy products. They can be narrowed down further as well. Cereals में cornflakes आ गए, oats आ गए. They can be further narrowed down. Kellogg's cornflakes, Forgy cornflakes. The point that I'm trying to explain is that a broadly defined market, in this case food, has an inelastic demand. फूड की प्राइसेस बढ़ेंगी, ओवरऑल प्राइसेस हम खाना नहीं छोड़ सकते, लेकिन केलॉग्स कॉर्नफ्लेक्स की प्राइसेस बढ़ेंगी तो वी माइट स्विच टू फॉर्जी कॉर्नफ्लेक्स. सो नैरोली डिफाइंड मार्केट्स जो हैं दे हैव एन इलास्टिक डिमांड, बट ब्रॉडली डिफाइंड मार्केट लाइक फूड have an inelastic demand. Another example, shoes. This is also a broadly defined market. जूतों की prices बढ़ जाएंगे, जूते पहनना नहीं छोड़ देंगे, right? Let me narrow it down further. Bata, Service, Stylo. Right, Bata prices बढ़ाएगा, we might switch to Service and Stylo. So narrowly defined markets have an elastic demand, right? Actually, there is another thing, another point that I just told you, that narrowly defined markets have an elastic demand, but there is another point which we must consider. I just told you that prices of Bata increase, people might switch to Service and Stylo, but let's suppose I am a very brand loyal customer of Bata, right? What in that case, demand for Bata will become inelastic. Even if prices are increasing, I might continue purchasing Bata, because in that situation I do not perceive Stylo and Service as a substitute, right? Even though substitutes are available, but I'm not perceiving them as substitutes because I'm so much brand loyal to Bata. मुझे और कोई substitute लगता ही नज़र ही नहीं आता, right? तो conclusion ये है, broadly defined market versus goods. Let me write down this conclusion first. Goods which are broadly defined have an inelastic demand because they have no substitutes, and goods which are narrowly defined have an elastic demand because there are substitutes available, right? But goods which enjoy brand loyalty have an elastic or inelastic demand. Substitutes are available, but a brand loyal customer does not perceive them to be substitutes. Alright. Last is time frame. This is also very important. Time frame ये कहता है longer term में substitutes develop हो जाते हैं. I'll record this part of the lecture in the next video because electricity has gone and generator has been opened, so you won't be able to listen to me.